Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with the host Imperial Ding, featuring today a 1 vs 1 on Beaux Lowlands. Yes, indeed, Beaux Lowlands. We shall be watching the Commonwealth here fighting under Xcom Reborn. Hurrah and huzzah, fighting for the, I don't know, 1st Canadian Infantry Division. Opposing him shall be Hellobananaphone. Clearly someone's gone insane. Fighting for the Wehrmacht, fighting for the 10th SS Panzer Division Hohenstaufen, I believe the name was. So Commonwealth versus Wehrmacht. I know Commonwealth has been asked for, and I thought this matchup looked decently interesting. We are seeing here a 3 pioneers going in from our Wehrmacht friends, standing out with the Wehrmacht quarters, whereas we do see very aggressive movements going in there from the recce section. Lieutenant out, another infantry section on the way before he will probably then proceed to pack up the headquarters command truck. And in the background we do hear the lovely British soundtrack, one of my favourite game soundtracks, to be honest. Has some very nice tunes to it, although the Communist 2 soundtrack is sounding pretty damn spiffy as well. But munitions there being secured, and we could see the pioneers immediately running into some hostilities with British Commonwealth troops. No Huns in the area, point secured. Of course, the question is what will come out here. There's Wehrmacht quarters, point here secured. Immediately securing the medium munitions, and there we go, Lee Enfield sound off, engaging with the pioneers, forcing the poor buggers away. Pioneers are trying their best to avoid British-related death, but they are not quite succeeding. Going there for the munitions. Truck, interesting enough, still not packing up. We do see the infantry moving up there through the secured territories of the Commonwealth. The pioneers are definitely running problems. We do see an infantry squad coming out, and the Volksgrenadiers rushing out. We also see the points here are being secured by the Wehrmacht. In fact, most of the pioneers are moving about there, securing vital resources. Pioneers going in for the munitions point. I think he's suspecting that Xcom might be trying to secure this and set up shop there. Tried to do something there, but obviously that did not work, in particular since Xcom's headquarters command truck is still not going anywhere. It's about as mobile as a rock. And I'm not talking the one you just threw at your friend. No. Fuel there being secured. Victory point likely going to be the next follow-up right there for Xcom Reborn. We see a bike out, the BMW, not the Sundup, since the Sundup could actually, well, move the other way. That is so, I can't remember the right. Damn it, I hate it when I forget something rather simple in English. Always a pain in the arse. Reverse, there we go. Reverse. I remember it there. Yes, not exactly a glorious moment. Either way, we do see a heavily bike reinforced combat force coming out there for hello. What do we have here? 2 recce sections out there, so obviously the Xcom Reborn is not intending for his. It looks like he also got speed governors, pretty much allowing his headquarters command truck to zoom away with the grace and speed not normally seen with a truck of that size and that much gear. Quite interesting, but of course he's intending to recruit it all with that medium fuel point. 2 recce sections, of course, giving Xcom Reborn increased mobility and flexibility, but of course at the same time also decreased combat effectiveness, as the recce section suffers a slight nerf in terms of damage when upgraded towards that. So that is something that has to be remembered. You don't get quite as amazing Commonwealth troops. And there we go, going for the cut-off point. This point has not been secured, in fact, so this is actually a pretty clever move, unless of course he can secure this point in time before the Wehrmacht cuts it off, though there's not exactly a lot to cut off from. Oh wait, that's up there as well. But again, reconnected and no worries. Situation under control for now, in the name of King George, and in this case Canada. Pioneers securing there, troops moving up there. Lots of pioneers now on the move from the 10th SS, which had shortly before normally actually been fighting on the Eastern Front, doing the relief attempt on Tarnopol. How that's supposed to be pronounced. And there we go, recce section moving, coming under fire from the bikes, and there we go, 2 machine guns firing a sniper shot on one of the false grenades. Unfortunately, they'll continue to hold out. They shall not be seen off by these Canadians. And there we go, taking up position within this odd artificial structure. I have absolutely no idea what sort of purpose it would have served. It looks bloody odd. Though I'm guessing it would have been some sort of grain storage building. That would be my best guess. Recce section continues to kill away at the Hun. Bikes though continue adding, and there we go, one brick goes down, another brick goes down, damage increases, firepower pours down in rapid torrents of German lead. And there we go, looks like some poor Lieutenant Jones getting caught out in the open. Clutching his stern, he makes a run for it, while the bikes patrol about like a small Germanic biker gang. And there we go, we are seeing the Velt in fact gaining a large part of the map. Slight problem here with Xcom Reborn, of course, slightly spread out in a heavy Recce dependent forces is not really able to put up much of a solid fight against Germans. And of course that's like the problem here on Beaux Lowlands when you're fighting the British, is you can't really pull off the usual sort of strategies that you want. It's not very easy to lock down your opponent because there's usually another entire half of the map. And it does seem a bit clear that Xcom Reborn is in fact struggling against the Hun, against Jerry. The Verdigris. The Bosch. And there we go, lots of MGs, it seems like actually popping up here for hello. The bikes here continue getting repaired. Recce sections are advancing under the supervision of the Lieutenant, boosting their combat effectiveness right here next to the cancelling station, which will be able to pick up any wound. And there we go, pushing in against the bikes. One bunch of crates fall apart. One's containing French fruit. It contains nothing. We do see the Germans pulling back, but we do at the same time see infantry pulling up, where the MGs nowhere to be seen in support of the front line. Bit of a shame there. Recce section being held up here. For example, would also be an idea for the Germans to actually lay down some sandbags to actually gain a better advantage against the British infantry. Again, a lot of people tend to forget again the ability of the Volksguns to lay down sandbags and again turn the battlefield to their favour by creating heavy cover where there is otherwise none. And Piet's going off. A quick rush for the field support truck has yielded projector infantry anti-tank. Flying away here at the Krauts. We need to get into bleeding cover. We also see now finally the MG42s are moving up a bit further closer to force the front line further towards the headquarters command track of Xcom Reborn. Xcom Reborn really needs to deliver some sort of decisive counterattack. And looks like a Piet caught poor Fritz in the face. And going in after there for Xcom Reborn's fuel. Nice move, nice move. And again, as he's slowly keeping up the pressure, again, he's making it much harder for, well, Xcom to do much, which is rather how you want to do. You want to keep up the pressure, you want to keep the British player limited and unable to really catch up any momentum and steam. So roll very effectively done so far, and we also see a Sturm Army going up. Hello, opting for something a bit more nasty than just grenadiers. And for that matter, note this has not resulted in any grenadier spam at all whatsoever. Instead, we're seeing 2 Volksguns, 2 MGs, and 2 bikes being delivered here against the Hun. Probably not so effective in another match, but in Beaux Lowlands, it's clearly working out quite nicely so far. Mining going up here, that's actually quite nice to see so few British players actually put down mines. So good to see that Xcom Reborn is actually doing so, and likely will in fact catch our German friend off guard. We do see some Recce section moving about, trying to clear out some mines, although it looks like they actually hit one mine, since they're definitely not in peak condition. And there we go, the 2 bikes are rolling in. Very much attempt on setting off the mines, but they are taking intense casualties to the 2 bikes. Pioneers moving in as well. Every attempt is being made to kill off Xcom Reborn's Recce troops. MD pushing up here, forcing down the troops there. And we see a howitzer up, a 25-pounder gun up for Xcom Reborn. And there we go, direct hit on the Volksguns down to 1 man. And looks like the wreckage section went down, murdered by the MG42 crew. More Pulse Grenadiers taking the ticket to the fatherland beyond. And we in fact see right there that Hello has been forced to pull back his troops in the face of the mighty 25-pounder gun. So named because of the fact that the shell it fired weighed 25 pounds, which is rather how the British designated all their artillery and anti-tank weaponry. Not by the caliber of the gun, but the size of the shell they were launching. Or the weight of it, more specifically. Which in fact was a very old tradition. But let's go have a look at Hello. Hello. Whose force is slowly growing, and we are now seeing the heavy armoured cars being added in. The schwerer Panzerschwebwagen, much more favoured by the Germans than the lighter one, since this one was much better off-road, which was rather the problem of the light one, which in fact resulted in it overall being replaced by the half-tracked armoured cars, which was basically the light infantry half-track, as we know from the Panzer League, with this sort of turret on. Alright, there we do see the infantry section getting absolutely pinned to the ground. Brits are slowly advancing, might see another infantry section. In fact, we do see there. 25-pounder guns not going to be firing anytime soon. And at the same time, the bike got a bit too close to the Vickers machine gun emplacement. And there we go, Piet's flying away and connecting with the armoured car, almost taking it out. Will he be able to get out there? And we see another one going up. We're in fact seeing it upgraded to a Puma, but no, he cancels it. He decides against it. The other armoured car escapes just in the nick of time. Terror Doctrine has been chosen. Right hand side has been chosen. Firestorm is prepared. The Feuersturm. And this armoured car could also very quickly go down as plumes of smoke appear as it is hit. And there we go. Firestorm called in on the British forces of Xcom Reborn. And we do see the 1st Infantry Division there of Canada pushed away as everything explodes in fire. And looks like a bike has in fact been lost. Attention. Right about here did not escape the wrath of the Vickers. Blew up and the crew landed slightly farther away from the bike. A tragic scene. Come on, Heinz, we can do it. Nine. But holding up here nicely, the MG42 providing support. Good job there, being a bit more aggressive with the MG42, supporting your advances. Leapfrogging ahead. Troops getting suppressed. But Xcom Reborn is not to be daunted by this Jerry tomfoolery. Or apparently he is. And we're seeing a lot of armoured cars now out for Hello. We're seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 heavy armoured cars, all with the 20mm auto cannon. Which generally could be considered bad news for our friends in the British Army. And it's rather interesting. I mean, he's got a field support truck, he's only got a captain now, and there's been no attempt at, say, getting a Stuart-like tank out. Which would actually currently be quite effective since, well, as some of you might be noticing, Hello has pretty much balls all that can do anything against armour. Except the Panzerfausts. And they could likely be cleared out with a cancer shot. And there we go, mine goes off, actually destroying the engine of the armoured car. Sappers and British infantry overall just pushing up here, taking a bit of heavy fire though. Volkswagen's moving in to support the armoured cars. 25-pounder gun firing in support though. Very close to hitting the Volksgrenadiers. Armoured car getting hit, button going to go down. Another shot hits off. Armoured car down. Kaputt, nicht mehr. Very close to getting it several times with the 25-pounder gun at both times. It does not hit, but the sappers might be able to finish off. Nope. Sappers apparently not quite up to scratch in the whole marksmanship business this time around. But there's still one last armoured car, which is desperately trying to get out of there, but the engine is pretty much a London broil and should not have much high expectancy of actually surviving. The MG42, though, staying up here in the small grove, continues to prove an obstacle for British advances. Continuous pressing, but they are getting closer. Main gun destroyed, one more hit, and that could be the end. That could be it. So little health left. Sapper firing. No, he's getting pinned as well.
The enemy is seizing our territory.
What a shame. And there we go. Armour coming in to unravel the entire offensive to get that last hit on the armoured car. Another sapper section moving up for Xcom Reborn. Perhaps Xcom Reborn himself served in the sappers while he was in the army. Who knows? If he ever was in the army, of course. Got a nice small advance up here, actually getting a Brent section out. Yeah, should have thought about that. And now we've got another firestorm getting called in right there to immediately cover up Xcom Reborn's advance. A bit expensive, but I suppose worth it. If Hello rather felt these troops were in immediate sort of danger. And we're finally also seeing some Stooks on the way, some Sturmgeschütz, since he's obviously starting to get worried that, you know, maybe his opponent actually decides to get something which he can't deal with, which in that case would be a Stuart light tank. 25-pounder gun continues to rain down high explosive death upon German positions. They're not really having an awful lot of luck in actually hitting anything, except the trees. Which, at least last time I checked, were not the immediate goals of the British Army in Normandy. But still note, I mean, Xcom Reborn has not really been able to push out much further. And again, that's partly due to his also a bit blobbing out. He's not even, for example, detaching a single captain to do some light harassment. And again, that's also probably because he's worried about the armoured cars. He doesn't have any Stuart light tanks again to support such an endeavour. And in this sense, what we're seeing is, in fact, that Hello is rather opting for a much more mobile strategy, which is actually causing Xcom Reborn a lot more trouble, in particular due to the way he's playing. And he's basically just trying now to sledgehammer his way out, punishing every mistake he can find. There we go, actually knocking out as many armoured cars as possible. As they can't fully deal with this, of course, have to be very careful. But at the same time, it's definitely not a foolproof strategy, and there's definitely a lot of issues at hand. Volksguns here getting absolutely murdered, in fact. Down to one unfortunate. Volksgun is making one hell of a run for it, but looks like he does manage to survive. Armour cars holding up there. Sappers doing what they can, in fact, going into ambush mode to gain small bonuses to get those damn Hun armoured cars, but they can't seem to hit over the actual side of the hill. Keeps getting caught. Perhaps Xcom Reborn just accept that his troops can't fire over that. No, they must. Churchill demands it. And then decides to just use his artillery to do the trick. And we finally see a Stuart light tank out here for Xcom Reborn. Named by the British. In fact, a lot of the American tanks, at least initially, were named by the British Army, not the Americans. And they basically named them after Civil War generals. I'm not entirely sure why they did. But so that is how they rolled. And later on, the Americans largely took it on with naming after their generals. So, fun little fact there. There goes Stuart rolling forwards, opening up there on the armoured car. Auto cannons trying their best, actually doing some damage, but overall not as much as the Stuart light tank can do to them. And of course, that Stuart's going to be running into a slight problem very soon as two assault guns are running forwards full speed. Commandos popping in straight onto a mine. Talk about bad luck. And there you go, the Stooks are rolling forwards. Nebelwerfer fire going in. Nebelwerfers have been called in. I do believe it's time for the mid-game analysis. Current situation for Xcom Reborn doing some damage, but at the same time he's also very much contained. We also finally see someone's been sent over there to do some harassment, take away some victory points, try to keep, you know, it from ticking down too fast. But overall, what Xcom Reborn needs to do is actually, I think, gain some armor and push a bit more aggressively. He needs to start detaching smaller units for harassment purposes. He needs actually to force Hello to actually spread out. He needs to force him to actually also have to leave units over here. Otherwise, what will happen, of course, is what Hello is just basically doing is forming a much smaller cordon around here, and Xcom Reborn is basically playing into it even when he doesn't necessarily have to, which is rather to the advantage of Hello at the moment. In particular with all the artillery he has, including the off-map firestorms, the on-map Nebenwerfs, which is very much making it difficult for Xcom Reborn to apparently just blow up, which seems to be what he wants to do, which is clearly not showing up to be the most effective strategy. So in that sense again, Xcom Reborn needs to split up his forces into smaller detachments who can still do something, but not necessarily get countered up by German artillery so quickly, and he needs some more armor. In this case, you know, a few Cromwells, a command tank, a Firefly could really cause Hello an absolute severe headache. And definitely should be considered. Otherwise, I mean, the commanders are definitely also a potential move. You could use them, for example, to drop them right behind here, hit the vital German resources, perhaps lay down a few demo charges as improvised mines, draw in Hello, and just, you know, tear him a new one. That is definitely a possibility. I mean, for Hello, I mean, he basically just needs to keep on pushing here. He needs to leave some against some small force. An armoured car would usually initially be the best choice, unless of course Xcom sends in something bigger to basically, you know, keep that contained, and otherwise keep up the pressure. Consider a medic bunker, perhaps get some more foot cannoneers, a bit more infantry, but overall, you know, just keep on doing what you do. Don't lose too much. Get some veterancy, by the way. He's got so much and absolutely no veterancy at all, and that definitely needs to be rectified, I would say. But let's return to the fight. Stuart very close to going down. The main gun is rubbish, and Heinz fumbles with the Panzerfaust. The Stug instead gets the kill, and Heinz's moment of glory was ruined. But there we go, Recce section actually causing Hello a bit of issues. And let's go pop over to Xcom Reborn, who's also got a decent sized force, but also, you know, got some problems. He does have the 25-pounder gun, of course. You can leverage that properly. He's definitely got some sort of way to rectify the situation. Also note, he's actually clearing out his own Stuart. Well, he's trying to, by the looks of it. And I imagine he's doing it to actually partly, you know, clear up obstacles, ensure there's nothing his opponent can take cover behind, but also just ensure that Hello has nothing he can salvage for munitions. And there we go, a nice, again, really good use of the armor car, basically, you know, clearing out harassers. So nice job there by Hello, and of course the Stuart light tank might have, for example, done a bit better there and later on, instead of, you know, being rushed into two Stugs. But those, of course, things to consider. Commanders now at work. Nice counter-attack going up here, and we are seeing the 25-pounder gun finding way somewhere. Another sample section out. Seems to be firing in support of his advance. Nebenwerfers, oh no, that was actually a firestorm. Going in there. But getting the victory point over there as well. Nice work. And looks like a small Nebenwerfer battery has at this stage been prepared for Hello and the 10th SS. Two of them out. You could still benefit though from a bit of veterancy. And a quick counter-attack from Pulse Gunners with their MP40s, but they're simply not able to do a lot of damage, and they risk getting cut down in vain. And there we go, they do retreat as more Nebenwerfers turn this area into a very dangerous place to be. Another armoured car pushed in. I'm not entirely convinced that will do much, particularly with all the Spiats now at this stage, and of course the veteran 2 lieutenant. That's a poor Nebenwerfer barrage. And the MG42 being sent in, that was definitely a poor move, actually sending an MG, and the armor car goes down, but usually should not be sending in an MG42 unsupported into what you know is hostile territory. That would generally be considered a very unfortunate idea. Commanders making a move up here, hitting another mine. These commanders are definitely not the luckiest ones in the British Empire, since they just keep on hitting mine after mine. And we do see here a quick attempt mining it in fact with a swift demo charge, just in case things don't quite work out the way he wants to. And a V1 rocket! A V1 rocket! The Vengeance rocket. Vengeance for all the men died. Dead. And dying and going to die. And there you go, the casualty station gets knocked out. A tree gets brutally scorched as well. The 25-pounder gun and everything else is pretty much unharmed. Commanders once more run into a bit of a problem. Demo charge goes off, almost knocking out the armoured car, but only almost. Which ultimately won't count for much since it can be repaired. But the lowlands have definitely seen a lot of scorching off, in particular in the western half of the map. 25-pounder gun ready to fire again. And we are seeing the heavy machine gun here becoming a primary target. Getting blown to bits alongside all the trees nearby. And there we go, the crew is dead. The MG-42 is still there. More needle rovers now in range to actually hit the headquarters, doing a lot of damage to Reborn's troops. That is very bad news for him. Very bad.
RAF will be providing us HQ glider support.
HQ glider support.
Jerry's attempting to secure one of our sectors.
Another casualty station now, a bit farther away.
25-pounder ready.
Germans once more pushing forwards.
All right, fellas, fire her up. Control ready.
A victory location is under attack.
Needler firing again. And in the distance, light can be seen. And a damaged engine on the headquarters command truck. I'm yet to see a Tetra glider popping in. And a Tetra light tank. Interesting, interesting. The Tetra itself didn't actually see a lot of action, though it did see more action than the later variant, the Locust glider tank. MG blasting away, then we are seeing the little John adapter being upgraded, which increased the velocity of the rounds fired out by the gun. A bit of fun there. Very small little tank. Very small. 3 need werfers out. Definitely a small battery by now. Armored car strips rolling, and we could see this infrajection going down. Definitely looking a bit ill for Xcom Reborn at the very moment. And looks like we might be seeing an attempt at counter-artillery right here, but it also looks like he can't actually fire that far. Which would definitely be interesting. And he's got no longer a captain, so he can't, victor the target. But we do see another heroic charge trying to overwhelm the armoured cars and blast them out with Piats, butting them down also very quickly. Looks like that is one armoured car, and there we go. Veterancy free for the lieutenant, also giving him a 1 command point. Which is actually a rather interesting detail about British officers. As soon as they gain veterancy 3, they also give the player in question a command point. MG has been heroically recruited by a few pioneers, but they are likely to get very dead in a few minutes. And there we go, in fact the MG itself was wrecked. Looks like another armor car could go down. We'll be seeing another fast time going down straight onto Xcom Reborn's force. We are seeing an infantry section reformed, but the force is getting devastated, pummeled by rockets. Many men are dead, lost, burned. Fish fingers. To be served with a nice side of chips. There we go, suffering violently in front of the Stooks, the armoured car and the Nebelwerfers. They have finally run off. And more rockets going in there. I mean, at this stage, it might be an idea for Xcom Reborn to actually consider just slightly moving its headquarters, for example, over here. So it isn't within the range of the Nebelwerfers. And there we go, section down. Again, you know, let's move it just a wee bit. Quite within the range of all the German rocket artillery. Which might in the longer run work out a bit more beneficially towards Xcom Reborn's infantry sections. And there we go, another section already burning up. And it looks like we're seeing a second Tetrarch out. Also being upgraded with the Little John Doctor. There we go, on the move, on the road. And there we go, armoured car swiftly dispatched with haste. Panzer cars, they're going off, but not enough. The Tetrarchs continue. Nebelwerfer spotted, Stooks are moving in. Very intent on getting those spotted Nebelwerfers. There you go, one Tetrarch already out of control. And there we go, at the same time we see a counterattack going in. As the Stooks and everything else was occupied with the Tetrarchs. Possibly even just due to the distraction, we see the main infantry force moving in from Hellobananaphone. We are seeing artillery going in there, just exhausted. This could be an absolute massacre for Xcom Reborn's infantry. We are in fact seeing them forced on a full retreat as rockets pound the ground. Could have very quickly gone very ugly for Hellobananaphone, in fact. But he's holding out, and once more again this target area becomes a target. This target becomes even more of a target. German targeting. Looks like some plucky commandos send off on a brave mission in the right hand side. Yes, the victory points are getting much lower by now.
The boys are waiting on your word.
Tiger's on the move. Perhaps he is the messenger for another V1 rocket. The Herald of Doom, riding on a bike from the ground. And that was likely it, in fact, since he's just quickly driving away. Message for you. Filthy British pigs, eat doom. There we go, 25 pounder gun gone. British force are tagging up through here. Sans artillery's report. A heroic charge straight into the Nebelwerfers and the armoured car. To note here, there's in fact no MP covering this spot, which has been torn open by Hello's Sturmgeschütz. So that in fact means the Xcom Reborn can in fact continue straight into Hellobananaphone space. And there we go, Nebelwerfer down. Second one already, first one cleared out, second one wrecked. Second one could go down. Fult's Grenadiers counter-attacking. Bike moving in there, not going to do much. Decoy smoke in, the Fult's Grenadiers are in problems. Second Nebelwerfer has been rendered inert. And another one in fact has been utterly wrecked. Now there's only one oh, that was another Nebelwerfer gone. And that was pretty much every single one. It looks like the armoured car was able to clear out the commanders. Their single pioneer moves in. He's trying to set off the demo charge. Will it be set off, or will Xcom Reborn be too? Oh no, he's actually not setting off. Oh dear, that's actually a missed opportunity to kill the pioneer. Oh, poor Xcom Reborn. And there we go, Königstiger has arrived. But definitely some severe casualties were right there inflicted upon Hello. And finally the demo charge was set off, clearing out the single pioneer. And the armoured car was a bit, shice. Now I might have to get out of it and do the job. But yeah, Xcom Reborn's infantry is not doing too well. In fact, it's time to look back at Hello, who's also suffered rather heavily, but he's still got something of a combat force. So the King Tiger is definitely not going to be able to cover all of it. So that is very much something to be considered. Whoops. And the microphone had slightly gone away there. And Xcom Reborn once more moves forward in force. Glider in trouble. Foot's Grenadiers on the run. And looks like Xcom Reborn is making one more attempt at the German base, figuring he can only win through the total destruction of the base of the 10th SS. His force is immediately coming under fire from that heavy King Tiger as well. And Propaganda War ruining the entire effort. That was a bit of a shame for Xcom Reborn. Armour car quickly advancing, but coming within range of the sappers. Several bits actually connect with it, and one more hit and that will go down. There we go. Heavy armoured car is a loss. In fact, that was the second to last one. And there we go, Pioneer Squad wiped out. Folks Grenadiers might be next. Another attempt here by some commanders. Folks Grenadiers nearby, armoured car quickly rushing in again. If only the commanders actually had something, and in fact we do see instead that Propaganda War once more is utilised. Forcing it away.
Losing territory.
Things are getting desperate for Xcom Reborn. There's this victory point which is being held by a lone MG42.
Panzer, stand by for target. Hey, rookie, think you can handle it?
And Propaganda War still on cooldown. There we go, one heroic charge, one desperate move for that victory point. Mine goes off, but also damages the MG crew. Armoured cars are swift to respond. And there we go, it is dead. Everyone is though is a bit exhausted. Artillery going in here right on the armoured cars, or is it just decoy smoke? No, it is actual artillery knocking them out. And a final Propaganda War. And game over. It was actually quite close. It was down to 4 units, including a single armoured car. I mean, that was very close right there for Xcom Reborn. Very close. But game over. A victory for the fatherland. Was able to contain Xcom Reborn quite nicely in sudden ways. Xcom Reborn rather helped it along, and he was not quite quick enough to get armour. He never really bothered with armour. He rather instead opted for an infantry blob, and in that sense, Hello rather had him countered in many ways. The MGs, the armoured cars, which also pretty much saw off the few harassment attempts he actually made. Overall, I mean, if Xcom Reborn had provided a bit harder again with the harassment, of course, there would also be the armoured cars, but again, you know, supportive with the light tanks, perhaps. things could have looked quite different. I mean, had he been able to starve Hellobananaphone of resources, he might have been able to gain a more solid upper hand, and he made it very much difficult for also Hellobananaphone to actually focus on just one spot, which is largely what helped him. That and the constant pressure. In that sense, all the need workers he had definitely paid off. Even as they were destroyed, they'd done a lot of economic damage to Xcom and rather hampered how much he could actually do. In that sense, he could also just move the truck a few, yards away, and that would probably make them a lot safer. But there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. If you did, why not subscribe, tell your friends. If you didn't, well, why not send a replay of your own? This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.